A really good night tomorrow, whether you're at home having tea or whatever. Happy New Year. Blessings to all of you.
Yep.
Thank
Pray,
you.
share, like, subscribe, all that joy.
And we will see you next week in 2020. You want me to shut it?
No, I'm going to shut it from here mentally. Look, I'm going to telepathically turn it off.
So Happy New Year, everybody, from our house to yours.
It's not working.
Finish.
I can't turn it off.
The Nutcrackers' War has left the inhabitants of Planet Christmas hopeless and desperate for heroes. Dozens of provinces and villages have been taken over by General Almond and his evil soldiers who aim to rule the planet and capture all the Christmas spirit that's left. But out of nowhere, a new hope has arisen. Our young hero Garrett is on a quest to find Father Christmas, who he believes is the only man that might have the power to dismantle the war completely. Garrett, and a leader of the small but mighty Christmasville militia, could be the only chance the planet has at returning to its jolly old self. But several questions remain. Where's Father Christmas, and why has he not stopped the war already? Who is Jack Frost, and what dark partnership did he have with General Almond? And what evil lurks behind the drawbridge of Castle Wenceslas? Raphael Sam will once again be the interior artist of this second issue. I, Ryan Hawk, will continue to write the story, and Tom Barton, our great cover artist, will draft the 5-page backup story, The Tragedy of Jack Frost, as well as drawing the variant and main cover of the second issue. Bric-a-Brac is back and better than ever. Please help us make this a reality.
Welcome to the Hero Shack Chronicles pre-show. So what we're doing here is in the hour before our live show, we're promoting our comics as well as other people's comics. Do you have a comic book you want to promote? Let us know and we can put your video in with these videos.
They said I couldn't get the rights to Earthworm Jim. They said I could not make hardbound comics in the USA. They said I couldn't do leather. They said I was crazy. Well, maybe now they won't think I'm so crazy after all. I want this to be a book where it's like going through my art pages.
But I was sitting in another world.
Hey everybody, we're finally launching Industry Issue 2. I'm very excited for that. We've upped the story, more story pages, bigger, bolder action. Some really cool creators joining us, like Miss Sashi doing awesome back cover for us. Now, Pickles also really improved the story. We gotta gel together more on Issue 2. So I'm really excited to show you all. Let's get into it.
Hi everyone, it's the writer and co-creator of Esther here, Dylan. I want to welcome you all to our second campaign for issue 2. Well, it's the first campaign for issue 2, but I want to say that this takes place directly after issue 1. So if you've not read issue 1, we will be offering a tier where you can get that. Issue 2, Damon's going to be fighting an extra dimensional monster, basically. He's going to have a hard time with this. We really were blown away by how much you guys liked Vodnik, our short story Ashcan. So we're going to be doing another Ashcan called The Eye of Moltstein. We're really excited about this one because our character's going to be fighting a giant, and I hope you love it as much as we do. I think you are going to love it.
So thank you all for joining us, and please do back the campaign, and most importantly, guys, share, because word of the mouth is just makes these campaigns, and it's something that will make or break our campaign. And you've been so good to us for the first issue, and we're hoping to get even better on the second one. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
This message, it's not for you. It's for the King who lives in you. This is not a message for humans. Humans are trying to figure out a way to save themselves. The King freely gives himself to be the Savior. You know what? If you go to Obadiah, it says, "And Saviors, deliverers shall come from Mount Zion." It speaks of many, not one. And as a matter of fact, all creation, come on, somebody. All of creation is waiting for one event. They're not waiting for anybody to come down on the cloud. They're waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. What's going on? Maybe your denomination is waiting for something, but your cat, your dog, and your plants at home, they're waiting to see the real thing. Out of creation, we are the only ones who happen to not know what God's plan is. He said it, if a seed abides alone, it gains nothing. But if a seed is buried in the ground and dies, it comes up and it produces many. Come on now. We got farmers in here. You take a piece of corn, you stick that in the ground, let that thing come up. First the blade, then the ear, then the full head in the ear. And when you open inside, you done put one in the ground. But when you open inside, there's rows upon rows upon rows of the identical seed that you placed in the ground. The harvest is not for people who believe in Jesus. The harvest is for the seed that has matured into Jesus. Come on. Said what you see ain't what you get.
He was the most grotesque creature, the arch-vampire, Dracula. Count Dracula.
Hey, this is awesome. Where am I?
A really good night tomorrow, whether you're at home having tea or whatever. Happy New Year. Blessings to all of you.
Yep.
Thank
Pray,
you.
share, like, subscribe, all that joy.
And we will see you next week in 2020. You want me to shut it?
No, I'm going to shut it from here mentally. Look, I'm going to telepathically turn it off.
A Happy New Year, everybody, from our house to yours.
It's not working.
Finish.
I can't turn it on.
The Nutcrackers' War has left the inhabitants of Planet Christmas hopeless and desperate for heroes. Dozens of provinces and villages have been taken over by General Almond and his evil soldiers who aim to rule the planet and capture all the Christmas spirit that's left. But out of nowhere, a new hope has arisen. Our young hero Garrett is on a quest to find Father Christmas, who he believes is the only man that might have the power to dismantle the war completely. Garrett, and a leader of the small but mighty Christmasville militia, could be the only chance the planet has at returning to its jolly old self. But several questions remain. Where's Father Christmas, and why has he not stopped the war already? Who is Jack Frost, and what dark partnership did he have with General Almond? And what evil lurks behind the drawbridge of Castle Wenceslas? Raphael Sam will once again be the interior artist of this second issue. I, Ryan Hawk, will continue to write the story, and Tom Barton, our great cover artist, will draft the 5-page backup story, The Tragedy of Jack Frost, as well as drawing the variant and main cover of the second issue. Bric-a-Brac is back and better than ever. Please help us make this a reality.
Welcome to the Hero Shack Chronicles pre-show. So what we're doing here is in the hour before our live show, we're promoting our comics as well as other people's comics. Do you have a comic book you want to promote? Let us know and we can put your video in with these videos.
They said I couldn't get the rights to Earthworm Jim. They said I could not make hardbound comics in the USA. They said I couldn't do leather. They said I was crazy. Well, maybe now they won't think I'm so crazy after all. I want this to be a book where it's like going through my art pages.
But I was sitting in another world.
Hello, and welcome to Hero Shack Chronicles. Diane is in the back room, so let me bring her up. Hello, kiddo.
Hey, hello
Welcome
everybody.
to the last show of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we made it, 2 years now?
Have we?
Yeah, we started this 2 years ago.
Oh
Hard
my
to
God,
believe,
has it
huh?
been that long? Has it
It
really
has.
been that long?
It has.
Wow. Cool.
I was looking over stuff. It's cool, but it's not cool. I don't know. I'm being very hard on myself this evening.
Why?
Because I suck.
Well, everybody sucks at something.
Amen. So what did you think of the 2020 reel?
I was watching it when you texted me.
Yeah, the one that I put up?
Yeah, the pre-show one?
Yeah, but the one for us.
I didn't see it. I didn't get to that part yet. You told me to come into the room.
Okay, I'm going to show it for you. Just for you.
Okay.
And yep, there's Terry. Hey, Terry. Link is in the description. I made sure it was there if anybody wants to join us in StreamYard, by the way. So let me pull up this video and I will share it with you momentarily. Hang on. I have to do a couple of things here. Like,
How long is it? I don't know. You went mute. Oh, dear Lord.
A really good night tomorrow while you're at home having tea or whatever. Happy New Year. Blessings to all of you. Thank
Pray,
you.
share, like, subscribe, all that joy.
And we will see you next week in 2020. You want me to shut it?
No, I'm going to shut it from here mentally. Look, I'm going to telepathically turn it off.
And Happy New Year, everybody, from our house to yours.
It's not working.
Finish.
I can't turn it off.
remember that one?
I do. Hmm. That was very funny. Very, actually, really good. You did a lot of work this past year. I can't hear you. There's no sound. Your mic is off.
Did you notice what was at the end? Were you watching it?
Yeah, the streets of Andamini.
Yes, close, very close. Yes.
Who's it
It's
for?
French.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is that? Is that you or somebody else?
that's me.
What in the world is the streets of Andamini and Andomini? Andomini?
Well, I'll have to share that with you off air, but it's something I came up with today. It's basically going to be the title of next year's big project.
Hmm.
Just like we've had Sandbox and In Search of Heroes.
I love it.
And it's going to be a recreation or what do they call that? A recon of everything we've done. But again, it's going to get even more focused. There'll be a couple of new characters involved, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm trying to find a way to improve what we are doing.
Well, that's always a good thing, right?
Right. So we need to say hi to Terry and Lorenzo.
Hi, guys. I just saw you all come in.
How you doing?
Oh, I just looked up the word. Oh.
Oh, you just looked it up finally.
Yeah, sorry. I'm doing well. How is everybody here? Well, there or here and
So far,
I'm okay. Are we actually live on YouTube or Facebook or what?
We're
I don't
live
see it
on
on
both,
YouTube.
actually.
I can't see it. I can't see the link on YouTube. How long have you been live for?
About
the links in the
10
description
minutes.
on YouTube.
Let's see. Yeah, no, we're live on YouTube. Well, if you count the stream, the pre-show stream. Oh, let me see. Where's the time? About 37 minutes.
Oh. I'm not seeing it on YouTube. That's really weird.
Maybe you've unsubbed me unconsciously.
No, I'm looking at your channel. I've seen something from 2 weeks ago. I've seen something from 6 days ago. A week ago.
Which channel are you looking at? There's two of them.
Hero Shack. Oh, it's got 16 subscribers.
Yeah, I may not actually be going to Hero Shack, even though I should be. I'm looking at mine on Chris T Hero Shack, but there's another Hero Shack.
Oh, yeah.
And I barely use the other Hero Shack. I should take advantage of that more.
we need to combine everything. That's one of my goals is to get. We have like Hero Shack Press. We have Facebook Hero Shack that Chris uses, and then we have Hero Shack YouTube. Then he has Chris T Hero Shack. So we need to streamline, dear. Just saying.
Okay, boss.
Yeah.
Well, we need to figure out what we're doing. I am not satisfied with the growth of this year. I was looking at business models, and we did not grow enough. If we were in professional comics, we would be canceled.
We would be canceled.
Yes,
well.
and
Or promoted. You'd probably be running the company by now if you're like at Marvel or DC.
Right?
the thing about it is, though,
How?
the thing is, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what do we got to do this year to make it grow a little bigger, a little better? And honestly, it's been a very depressing week because I'm a dreamer, and like I can't believe that we haven't like already signed our movie contracts.
He's funny. I just let him go, guys. I'm like, well,
Yeah, no, it's not that big, but I do want to expand, and I got to figure out, you know, basically I'm a big believer in when the work is good enough, it'll expand on its own.
nope.
So it's basically telling me I have to get my ass in gear and
Yeah, it doesn't
push a
do.
little harder.
I think the artwork and I mean, looks like the comics are good. It's just it seems like you've got like 80,000 different channels.
Exactly. Nobody
mean,
knows
I don't
where to
even know how
go.
to sub to the other one, but I
Uh-huh.
guess you do upload videos occasionally. That's
Right.
really confusing.
Focusing will be better. Yes, Diana will organize that part, but
Well, the thing is, I can organize it, but he creates things without me knowing it. That has happened in the past, and he'll say,
what you
"Oh,
mean,
by
like
the way,
street? You mean like the streets of Anadani?
yeah, exactly." So, guys, I will come home and he'll be, "Oh, I had to create a new account because I couldn't find the password." Why didn't you check in our password list? I write all your passwords down. You should have checked there. Oh, yeah, I didn't know how to get. He just gives
I've
me a
never done
line.
that. Never,
No.
ever.
Guys,
I live
please.
in denial.
Yes, you do.
No, but
Oh.
seriously, I think that
Mm-hmm.
the big things this year is I'm going to slow down because I did that video of what we did this last year,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking a few hundred pages.
Oh, yeah, easily.
I need to slow that crap down. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if I can get that down to 120 focused pages, they should be pretty kick-ass.
It's not about, well, yeah, it's about always improving, but we have to figure out how to get our name out there. And I have a couple ideas. I was just talking to somebody about me decreasing some of my hours at work because I can't do the 40 hours a week and run the household and help Chris with his stuff. I just can't. I'm sorry, guys. I have failed in that mission. I'm like,
Maybe we should do like
dear
Milli
Lord.
Vanilli, right? And we just
Uh-huh.
hire a couple of young kids to pretend they're making the comics.
Chris, that's not funny.
Well, you remember how that worked out for them.
Yeah,
It worked
exactly.
great for a year or so.
Yeah. No, that's not happening.
Well,
We
I
don't
tried.
operate like that. We don't operate. Nope, that's not us. That's not who we are.
Well, you could just like be a publisher if you wanted. I mean, I bet there would be no reason to fake that. You could just
True.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know. I
it's
think
more
Richard C. Meyer actually hired like a writer and an artist, you know, and
Yeah.
the rest of the people to
Mhm.
produce the Expendables with I mean, even had Sylvester Stallone on there, so
yeah.
and that might be a little more ambitious than you know.
I wonder if that paid off for him.
Stallone owned the property, so they had to.
Oh, okay. But my point is that there are people who just publish books. I mean, if you wanted to wanted to publish a friend's book or something, and as long as you were honest about it and didn't
Right.
Milli Vanilli it, there'd be no problem.
No, I want to Milli Vanilli me. I want to get like, I don't know, who's the guy who plays Superman? Henry, what's his face? Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah.
I want him to play me, so he can come up and go, "Hi, I'm the creator of Hero Shack."
You're such a dork. Oh my
That
God. No,
would be funny. I think that would be funny.
no. One of the goals
It
I
would
have
be.
is to drop off some samples at some of the local comic book stores. The end,
Now, see, I'm
we-
going to be honest. We have to talk about the future because I don't even know if those places are going to be open this year.
some of them are now.
You love them, yeah, babe.
Are they even going to survive though?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think positive, dear.
Well, I kept saying no. My LCS shut down because of the pandemic, or I just assumed that it just changed locations.
Mm-hmm.
Ours did too. Although the problem with ours is they were too far away for us to frequent. And they
Mhm.
really
Oh,
still kind of are. They're what, honey, about 45 minutes to an hour away. If we were to
Right.
call
yeah.
Holy
For
Moly
all I
Art,
know, they could have actually changed locations before the pandemic because
Right.
I was having a hard time getting there, and I was spending so much money in crowdfunding books. I can really afford to. Plus, with Marvel and DC, it's kind of hit or miss. But I guess it's the same thing with crowdfunding. There's
Mhm.
stuff I'm going to like and the stuff I don't. I'm sure if I looked,
Mhm.
if I looked around my local comic book shop, I'm sure I would find plenty of comic books there that I'm interested in.
Right.
Probably for a decent price.
the
Mhm.
problem for me is deep down with Marvel and DC being so sporadic is
Mm.
that there is no foundation in comics for me right now. And I'm trying to
Mhm.
build one of my own because I'm not satisfied with the legends. I'm not satisfied with the legacies. And most of the crowdfunding, so we need to hit on this sometime tonight, so we might as well do it now. But I'm so freaking confused about what's going on with Comicsgate and War Campaign and my friends otherwise that like I almost want to crawl under a freaking rock and start making, children's coloring books because
Oh, well, yeah, that's the whole thing with who belongs to what faction. It's probably best to just ignore all that stuff. A lot of that stuff doesn't seem to matter as much anymore either. It's not like it used to be, yeah, like you criticize somebody and then like you spend the next year or two being like dildo memed,
Mhm.
just make all these really obscene images of people. But that seems to have kind of um, I don't see that very often.
I don't know.
I think you have to kind of look for that.
The last broadcast I saw was the D Live with Doug went on there, Preston was on there, Liam was on there. It was like a freaking all-star thing, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you kind of have to search that out, don't you? I mean, you had to kind of go. You had to go over to D Live, and I don't know. I mean, unless you use D Live a lot, that's kind of.
No, I use it enough. I mean, I know where
Okay.
they are and stuff, so I watched it. And here's the thing: like I heard Doug pretty much put them in their place, and he was doing the Christian thing, just trying to be like, okay, guys, make your comics. Let's all just earn our place and do what we can do. And then Preston came on, Liam came on. It was kind of like they were picking at each other without picking at each other.
Are you familiar with Vestige 2? Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
yeah.
The artwork looks pretty good on that.
It's it's not bad.
I was pleasantly
The
surprised.
only problem I have with War Campaign is a lack of trust. I look at it, I'm like, this whole Peace Fest feels like like it's a trap. And I'm watching people who I really respect and honored, and now I'm like, I'm not so sure what's going on,
Well,
Doug, I'm not
there's
worried
people.
about.
There's certain individuals from the War Campaign who are nice to me, and I'm nice to them, and it's the kind of the same thing with the Etsy boys. I try to. I'm just trying to get along with people now because I used to think, well, I have to go and spread the word about this person or that person. Now there's so much of that out there. There's so many drama streams people can watch, and if they want to, it's like I don't really feel like the need to go and constantly warn people about Ethan Van Sciver. It's like or
Well, that was another
campaign,
thing. Like, how
whatever.
is he even the main topic of that conversation? They were all dogging on him, and I'm like, I don't care about EBS anymore. I dropped the whole EBS thing 3 months ago because it was a waste of time and energy. And
well, he's got his corner, and then the War Campaign have their corner, and the Etsy boys have their corner, and then but I actually don't mind going and say checking out people's shows, even if they belong to some sort of faction. I just don't necessarily consider myself a member of any faction other than I like indie comics more than the big two. But I just consider myself. I don't know. I'm just somebody. I'm still quite new to comic books. I'm still learning about comic books.
see, I have to find a way not to befriend everybody who appears to be friendly. I have to stop putting my own expectations on other people based on what I would do. It's something Diana warns me about all the time, but like I look at the motley mess that I saw the other day, and I'm torn 16 different ways to Sunday. You know, I'm like, how do you reconcile all of this when you know that there are certain people in the mix that shouldn't be, when you know there are mental issues on others, when you realize that some people aren't going for the same motives that you are in terms of
You just do what you do best, and like just continue to make your comic books. And,
it sounds easy.
I'm trying to scale back on these conversations. You know, I'll have a conversation on Twitter, and then if I realize it's not going anywhere, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to mute this conversation. I'll say that, so that people aren't just trying to contact me in the conversation. I'll just say, well, I'm going to mute this conversation because it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And then I'm at the point where forget about that conversation, because otherwise it'll just keep going back and forth for like 3 days. I've seen people for like days on end. I've argued before with people for days on end, but I can't do that,
Nah, and it's not about arguing days on end. It's actually about standing up and saying exactly what you said, but saying it in a way that kind of, I don't know. There has to be a way to niche out our own corners, because I'm not on either side. I'm not on Ethan's side. I'm not on War Campaign's side, and yet I have friends that are getting involved, and I'm like, F all that. I want to make another year of comics.
I got. There's some people that I consider to be friends, and then they're in the Etsy boys. And I've got people I consider to be friends who are War Campaign.
So who are Etsy boys, by the way? I don't know who the Etsy boys are.
Huh?
Are the Etsy boys like Testify and?
Yeah. That's not really. They don't have an official name. That's just the nickname that the War Campaign gave them, and they kind of ran with that, because.
No, I just want to make sure I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It's like it's not really it's not an official organization, but then again, if you think about it, like Ethan Van Sciver wasn't officially the leader of Comicsgate, but he sort of was. He had kind of a de facto role and everything. So sometimes it's not. A lot of times there's,
What?
No, I said Ethan got roped into being the leader of Comicsgate. He wasn't trying to be.
I don't know. There's
a lot of times there's not necessarily, these factions aren't necessarily official. It's just sometimes it's useful to put labels on things, because.
Well, they're only as official as they are useful at the time. These guys, they drop their affiliations at the dime of a hat, except for the core War Campaign guys.
Oh yeah, they call themselves the elevated members now.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah. So people like Roe and Pan and Gad, and there's more of them. And I don't mean any offense by not. I just honestly don't know which ones other than that. I'm pretty sure they're all elevated members.
Well, they got like Gat and they got Nick and they got all their little crew, but and that's fine. What's funny is they don't bother me at all because they pretty much have been staying on their own thing. It's just. It felt like I was watching everybody walk into the hunter's field the other night, and it was just, I don't understand what's happening. And even though it is as easy as simply shutting it off and ignoring it, it still drags me in my heart, and I don't mean to sound sappy or dramatic, but like I actually sit awake at night going, okay, so I'm going to say this, and Preston, if you're watching, hear this. Why the fuck do you want to go after Tug? Why do you want to bring all that crap up again and bring Remphamus back? Like, why does anybody want to do
in my opinion, I think it's going if right now there's not that many people talking about those guys, the guys that remained loyal, some of those people like in Ethan's inner, I don't even know if Tug's part of Ethan's inner circle right now.
Yeah, who knows where Tug fell, right? I mean,
there's a lot of these people that aren't really talked about now, but let's say Preston goes and starts, in order to enforce a trademark, I think he might have to go after certain channels using, but the thing is, why even bother at this point? Because Ethan's going to turn into a victim if if all of a sudden he can't do Comicsgate Live, then he can make a legitimate claim that he's being censored. And I'm going to have to say, you know what? Ethan's right. Even though Ethan had a chance to go and get the trademark himself, I mean, the idea of trademarking a hashtag, trademarking a movement, I know that's how our laws work in this country, and Preston's very much for following rules. He's a poker player. He's talked about that before.
But the funny thing is, he has won as far as Comicsgate goes. Okay.
Yeah. So this really, this is just going to make him look like a villain, and I don't think it's going to really help sell his comic books. Maybe I could be totally wrong. Maybe it'll sell a bunch of his books.
It probably will. I mean, look, I thought that all I had to do was go out and put out good books and be a nice guy and work it. It doesn't work that way. Like the only way you get out there seems to be if you say or do something that stands out as controversial.
Well, you can just promote your books on other people's shows.
You can try that, but look, it only gets you into the how do I want to put this? The 4-figure mark. You gotta like stand out. If you want to get more than like the $10,000 mark, so for example, Doug TenNapel had a great license with Earthworm Jim and Bigfoot Bill. He's worked his ass off on.
Yeah.
But his YouTube is taking off because he's found an angle with the Trump thing. So that's a temporary thing. But what he'll do is he'll grow that crowd up as big as he can. And then when they fade off, he'll maintain a certain percentage. And to me, that seems smart. I just don't know where Diana and I have a niche because I don't want to do same old. I don't want to go, okay, we're here to talk about Donald Trump tonight and make a lot of fans.
Well,
but I want to.
Tim and Mark have a really good.
Do what?
Tim and Mark have a really good thing going on, though.
Yeah, those guys are.
Tim had opportunity to go and defend himself when people are going after him, and instead he just kind of didn't comment much on things. And the weird thing is that it seems to have paid off. That by avoiding drama, he seems to have done really well just by concentrating on his books.
Yeah.
Now the Common America. I hope I'm pronouncing that name.
I believe you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people will call it Cayman, but I think it's Common.
I'm pretty sure.
I think that's that's making a lot of money. Because remember, Liam Gray was talking about how he was just looking at the Indiegogo campaign. If you look at that, it's like it's doing better than a lot of books, but it's not doing as well as when you look at the Kickstarter. It's like, oh, well, that's where he's really making his money.
That was funny because
people make money on Indiegogo. I'm all for them using Indiegogo. Whatever works for a person. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Where the hell is his stuff? Tim Lynn, Carmen America. Is it Lim or Lynn with an N?
Lim, Lam, and it's Common, Kamen, I think.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to show Diana.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Because actually, honey, they're right. He would be a good person to look at as far as an example goes of successful crowdfunding built from grassroots. Okay.
No, he also I think he also sells stuff on Amazon like you do, but I think he's also got a publisher now. But I don't think he did at first.
No, he surely did it at first.
I mean, when he was first, what I mean first is when I first started.
And this is the other thing he worked with Walmart, right?
Well, yeah, that had a publisher, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know exactly. I'm just seeing. I didn't know if all of his crowdfunded books did early on in Comicsgate. And I don't even know if he uses the term Comicsgate or not to describe himself.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
That's another confusing thing is EVS doesn't even really use the term other than having a show with a name.
Right.
And
Hey,
because
honey,
What?
what are you eating?
My dinner. I don't eat till late at night. I figured I would give you guys a break. You didn't need to see me stuffing my face with food. But
We
you
don't
guys
even
are on a roll here.
Well, what do you
So,
think? You're my manager.
well, I think that for people that don't want to talk about all this stuff, you, Christopher, tend to talk about it a lot. You always bring it up. So you have to find out why you are drawn to this, because you obviously are.
I
And
know
it
why
is though.
I know why I'm
Why?
drawn to it.
Why?
Because
'Cause
I want a community of comic creators. I don't want to be a solo act. I don't want to be
Do you know that this world has millions and millions of people in it, and you are focused on one tiny little group
Yes, that's
that
why I'm
does
talking about
nothing?
carving out our own corner.
Not well that, but there's got to be other groups, comic groups on,
Yes, so I have to figure out how to cut lines and create new ones.
You don't have to figure out how to cut lines. You block everybody and you just keep looking for comic book people who are not crazy like these guys. Because I'm sorry, they all say they're professional, but their behavior shows nothing but they're not professional. Professional people do not squat and poop on Twitter all day long about this, that, and everything else. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to make their books any better. It's like, holy mother of God, if I had that much time on my hands, man, I would not be tweeting about nonsense stuff, because that's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, I don't know. I may be clueless and this is super important. But it just seems like there may not be enough going on in their lives that they have to talk about it. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's just crazy.
Well, I can tell you from personal, and you know this, but it truly saps energy. It truly sucks you dry.
Exactly.
And I
So
don't
why do you keep going back to it?
Well, now wait a minute here. You're dogging me, but what I'm saying is
I don't mean to be
I'm
dogging you.
struggling with it. The very fact that I'm talking about it says that I'm struggling against it. I'm trying to figure out how to break the cycle because I care about people. Okay.
Well, I know
For
you
instance,
do,
I
honey.
care about Preston Poulter. He helped us. He gave me some guidance, and I don't want to see him self-destruct. I care about people like Doug Tenaple, but he's going to be fine. Doug is set. But then there's like just the whole patch that follows into that, and it's conflict. It's like, what's going on, with Mecca, what's going on with my friends over in
But they're
the
not your friends. They're not, like, they are acquaintances. They are people that you know through a similar liking of comics and stuff, but they're not friends. You remember we talked about this. What is a friend, Chris? A friend is not somebody online that you tweet with. Just saying. Because you get hurt all the time. You guys, he's very
Good
sensitive.
evening, Nigel.
Is
Hi,
this a
Nigel.
drama stream? Can we have some drama here?
No, we
we're
don't.
having a little bit of it, but Diana is the
Nigel.
drama control queen. She's going to stop it before it gets too big.
God! Oh my God!
I would just recommend, instead of blocking people, Chris, I'd just recommend meeting some, maybe come back a little later. Maybe they're not talking about whatever, and
right.
unmute them. The
Well, I
blocking
might
thing
try-
can
I
become
might try-
permanent because the other person will block you back probably.
But I might try muting for a little while. Because my own emotional maturity doesn't allow me to just ignore it on a conscious level. I can't just look at a post from Pan or from War Campaign or even from Preston and go, "Oh, I'm not going to read it," or I'm not going to let it impact my emotions because
sometimes I'll quite often I'll type something up and I'm like, I'm not going to send that. That's just not worth the hassle. But even that's giving him more time than a lot of the stuff deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right,
it's a step in the right direction if somebody catches themselves, trying to. First, they're going to say something, and it's like, no, I'm not going to, comment. That's, I think that's where that's.
Well, I ended up sending out DMs yesterday instead of public proclamations because I didn't want to be that in the public. I was like, okay, what the F is going on between you and you, and what's going on between you and you, and why are you guys fighting? Because a lot of this stuff, believe it or not, I was so focused on the comic book between November and December, I haven't followed the major developments, so I get these little things. Like, for instance, one of the biggest things that are blowing my mind is what the hell happened between DA, Vicky, and Mecca. Now, I kind of have a clear.
Who the hell knows? Some sort of thing. Oh, Nigel might know. But a lot of the stuff I think happened on Discord, and I'm just hearing things. I think people just don't always get along, and
Nigel,
maybe they just weren't meant to get along.
I don't know anything except for movies.
There you go. That's
but like, okay,
that's another thing to talk about.
Those three, particularly Vicky and Mecca, are kind of close to me in my Twitter circle, and I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, okay, so yeah, there was this moment of drama where you pissed you off and whatever, but like, I don't know. I guess I'm just shocked at the lack of resilient. I can't say the word.
Resilience.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just that both of them are very strong in their opinions, and they rub each other the wrong way.
Maybe
Vicky even does a show where she talks about like a lot of drama, and so
that's true.
And Mecca did for a while too. I think he scaled back on that. So
here's the even crazier thing. My bond with Mecca and Vicky both spawned from the writer's workshop, which neither one works in anymore.
Yeah, I don't even understand. I don't understand what happened
that's
there.
what I mean. In my heart, that's how weird I am, because I don't really look at what's happening now. I look at where I met these people and where they, where I bonded to them. And Diana is very good at picking me apart on that, but she's right. I don't know.
Well, things.
I'm like Velcro. I tend to stick too much.
Well, it's like I think with what the Buddhists were say about like things that tend to change, and people can kind of cling to the past and not really look. I'm not like just like straight up endorsing Buddhism, but I'm just saying that a lot of I think what they talk about with suffering really has to do with change. I could be totally wrong on that. Who knows? I'm not a Buddhist.
So, I mean, so I got that out of my system, and Diana's now muted, so I hope she hasn't left the conversation, because we need to figure out what we're going to start doing next year, because I don't want to do another year of wasteful streams.
I'm here.
Hello, my love.
I'm here, but we're stuck here. You guys are not. You guys are.
No, we're not stuck here, because I want to move on and talk about what we're going to do next year.
Don't you have like some sort of comic book you're working on?
Actually, the Streets of
He can't even say he named the title. He can't even say it. This is not good. Is it?
Go ahead, honey.
Have you spelled it correctly? It's a word that you've gotten from somewhere.
I'm not including the French accent. So here's the story, okay?
Okay.
Anna Demne is a town in central Massachusetts. There are special things about this town. I want you to think about it in terms of Stephen King style with my kind of pop culture twist, and them blend in our current hometown, and you'll get an idea of where we're headed. In this world, we're going to see young Cyclopean as a foster child. In this world, we are going to see my Spider-Man ripoff character, who as of yet does not have a solid name. But here was the thing. I had Cyclopean, who's been a Superman inspired, parody for a while. And he's now maturing out of that. I'm going to use him in other ways. My Spider-Man ripoffs have never made it into my modern comics, and I've been doing research, and that led into a whole bunch of stuff that's going to make it more interesting than just, here's Donald Darker instead of Peter Parker or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he's become his own character. Some of you might have seen the initial prototype costume that I posted to Facebook the other day. Diana looked at it and said, "Oh, look, it's Spider-Man." Well, that's because that's where he is right now. He's evolving, doing a lot of side work on him just to get him right. But the point is there's a whole story brewing. So what I'm going to do is write the script, which Diana's going to be fed. There is a possibility of another story starting up on the side, but I'm not even going to talk about it till we get this one out of the way. But she's already started reading that script.
Mhm.
And I'm going to basically slow down and try to do 30 pages every like 3 months. And at my current pace, that's impossibly unreal as far as slowing down. But I think what I'll do is I'll do it in multiple passes, like because I work so fast, maybe I'll do 10 pages in a week and then I'll put them aside and work on the next 10 and then go back and fix up what I see that's wrong in the first 10. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And work a rotating schedule because it only takes me a day to sketch out a whole book in roughs. It's the final cleaning it up that takes forever to give it that good polished look.
So, did you deliver Last of the Rapers? I can't even remember.
Oh yeah, we did it
Oh,
about
yeah.
a month late by the time it
Okay.
finally got off the
Couple
press.
weeks late.
So I'm gonna
It
have
wasn't too
to
bad.
look for that. I'm sure I have it somewhere in my.
It's available on Amazon now.
But the thing is, I had ordered it. I just don't know where I must have.
Oh, did you
gotten
order
it.
it from us?
Yeah, so I probably have it, but then it's probably on like sitting like on a table.
Well, I have to apologize because we didn't get any Altrusion addresses. So
Hmm.
unless you're forwarding it from a PO box, I didn't see Altrusion.
Did you get any sort of Michigan address?
Michigan, yep.
Okay, so maybe yeah, that could have been one of the Michiganders.
Well, you could have
But
been.
we'll
one
have
of
to
them,
talk.
too.
We'll have to talk about it after the stream is over. Maybe I can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably have the package around here somewhere. It's just.
Oh my God,
I
you're
need
so
to clean my
funny.
apartment.
You are too funny. Oh, Lorenzo, my daughter is the same way. Chris is the same way. Good Lord, you guys.
I am not the same way. When packages come, I know I'm so on my packages because
Yeah, you
everybody
are.
else here gets packages. When I get one, I'm like, oh, it's for me.
He's such a big baby. It's so true.
Well, I do try not to do more than 2 books at a time. In other words, if I have backed 2 books and they're not back yet, I can't back another one. I try to keep it down that way. Otherwise,
Yeah, well, he'd be backing
find
everything under their bra. It's craziness.
well, a lot of people have, and that's one of
I
the
know.
downfalls of crowdfunding because when 80% of them don't deliver, it leaves a sour taste in the consumer's mouth.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to offer up something that will be happening in 2021. We will be doing, I have signed us up for Prime Video Direct. It is a free service. We make some sort of a video about something for Hero Shack. We send it in, they approve it, and then people can watch it.
So what we're going to do, and I'll tell you exactly what that's going to be. We're going to do a documentary about how we're making our comics, who we are in terms of what would interest the world out there.
Yeah.
In other words, it'll be a good opportunity for Diana to explain what it's like to try to wire a Aspie old man who's never properly been treated for Asperger's to make him do something productive instead of spinning his wheels.
Mhm.
But the whole thing is you can put documentaries up there if you do them well enough, and they'll approve it and post it. And then you have an Amazon Prime Video, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but they get played a lot. Just people looking for.
No, they're looking, so that is going to be, and
Asperger's and comics and middle-aged housewives that have to take care of crazy white men.
There you go.
We have all the check boxes, baby.
There you go. We've got all the check boxes. So what I've been doing while you guys were having that wonderful discussion about all that other stuff, I was looking and just running through. It's a lot of technical video stuff, Chris, that you will have to help me through because I honestly
like
don't-
video
yeah.
format and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I'm reading it. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't even know what that means, but
Basically,
my
it
husband
just
will.
means we have to film it all in the right codecs and stuff. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
and we have to do subtitles have to be done correctly. Excuse me. So that has to be done. You have to add subtitles because we're signed up for Germany and I think Japan as well. I signed us up for a bunch of people, a bunch of places that it'll play. So
that
that's
might not have been so brilliant.
no, it'll be good. It'll be good.
What about America?
Well, yes, of course that. Oh my God.
You think you're gonna have subtitles in Japanese?
Well, yes, they will do subtitles. You have to format it, and so when we're speaking in English, if it's being played in Japan, their Japanese subtitles will come up a lot while they're
Make sure you
listening.
use the word "yabai" a lot.
You buy?
Yeah, it can mean something kind of like dangerous, but I think it's kind of like a swear word. Like you know
You
how
are
we might say
so
like
funny.
shit, like you know, like
I know what you mean.
if
It's
something,
one of
if
those
like it
words.
can mean, but it can also mean it can mean something bad happen. Oh shit, you know, or that you know, or that's you know you buy or you know, or but it could be also mean like you know something good like oh he's the shit, which actually means something positive, you know, or
Oh my God, that's
that
so
doesn't
funny.
literally mean shit. It means like danger
No, but
or something like
yeah,
that. It's one of my
no,
favorite new words. You buy.
you buy. How do you spell it? You know?
Well, it's like it's a Japanese word, but it's like the Romanized way of spelling it. I think is YABAI.
B-A. Okay, you
I'm
buy.
looking it up.
It's a fun word because it means so. It can mean just depending on how somebody says it.
Yeah.
It can mean so many different things, and I have a fun time trying to figure out what somebody means when they say that. I have to
Oh, that's
watch
funny.
subtitles when
That's
when
funny.
I'm watching like Japanese stuff, but sometimes
Yeah.
you just don't. Sometimes the people won't translate it; they just leave it
Uh-huh.
that way, and then you
Right.
have to kind of figure out, well, what does it mean in this
Oh my God.
context?
That's so funny. No, I actually wrote it down because I'm gonna look it up too. But I'm very excited about the video thing. I don't know how well we'll do. I don't even know. I don't. I honestly don't. But you know what? We're gonna try and see if it helps us at all. You know, I don't know. I mean, it may not.
We're
But
at this point, though. Don't you think we need to do something?
yes,
Yes.
100%.
I don't. I'm not.
Yeah, 100%. And so that's why I am, you know, trying to do this. And I'm reading it. I'm sitting here reading through it. I'm like, oh, good golly, Miss Molly, I have no idea. Chris will have to get involved with it because, you know,
Because it goes to a technical level.
yeah, well, it goes to a technical level.
Okay, here we go. This is the spelling for sure, according to this website.
hmm
Let me
Hey,
just.
I have a question to you guys. When you buy, yes, that's it. I have a book that has never been mailed out because the person I have tried to contact this person many emails to say we need your address, usually Kickstarter at the end, you know, you get their addresses and all that stuff. They never sent me their address and I still have their book. Any suggestions on how I can get that book to them from you? I know Chris and I keep, you know, we've done that whole thing, but I was just thinking about that.
Well,
I mean, I still have it. The guy
even
paid
though
for it and
even though they
everything.
ordered it, even though they ordered it and they still haven't given the proper info to Kickstarter yet. So it's gonna be like until they release it to Kickstarter, you'll never be able to send it.
Right. It's so crazy. I said, Chris, I said, we have the person's name. I said, can you look him up and maybe send a message and say, hey, because I don't want to do it. Being a female, I don't
Have
want to
we
send.
tried that already?
No, you were supposed to. You haven't done it yet.
Oh, send me in an email. I didn't know.
Yep. You said you were gonna, and then we kind of everything happened and whatever. I only brought it up because Lorenzo said he ordered a book from us, and he didn't know if he got it or not. So I don't know if
Oh,
it's
I'm sure I did.
okay.
This
You filled out your address and all that.
it's just
Okay.
completely. Um, but it would be helpful to know when I
Yeah.
actually received it, so that I can know which pile it's probably in.
Yeah. Which part?
Yeah, because there's so many books. Did you give away PDFs too? And
Yep.
with the
Yeah, we did the PDF route
well,
too.
I'll read the PDF.
Don't forget about the book.
It's a lot easier for me to
Listen,
read a PDF. To
well,
be quite frank.
yeah, and some people love. I personally
Yeah.
like to hold the book in my hand. I don't like reading online. That's why.
I don't
in
know
my-
anybody who prefers reading online.
Well, a lot. My
Not a
daughter
single
does.
person. Huh?
No, a lot of people like it.
I've never met anybody who said they like it. I know people who do it for the sake of convenience, for the sake of cost, But most
Mhm.
everybody I've ever met, actually everybody I've ever met, prefers a book over PDF.
Really?
Well, I think as far as it being convenient, it can be, you can read it on any sort of device with a PDF. But as far as how it feels, it's better to have a regular book.
Yeah, it's
Right.
always better in book.
I think so. But anyways, I just didn't know if you guys had any other ideas. So that's the only other thing I can think of, is to try to contact this person in a very discreet way. Say, hey, did you order a book from Hero Shack? And if they say yes, I did, or they say no, get away from me, you
Unless
weird
you
dude.
have the email address, then yeah.
We have the
But if
email
you don't
address,
have
but
their
they
email
haven't
address,
responded.
Yeah,
That's the
they haven't
thing.
responded again.
They haven't responded. I've sent 3 very nice emails, and I just stopped
You know,
sending them.
here's the crazy thing, and this is what I worry about with all the drama on YouTube or on on Twitter. People get mad and they mute you, they block you, they disappear. That could be somebody who backed me and then disappeared. Remember that one guy who I got in an argument with, and I volunteered a possible refund, and it went weird for a few days, and people just do some weird stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be somebody that's mad at me.
That's kind of lame.
That's how weird it gets.
That's why I don't know why you do it.
That's why I'm talking about it, because I don't want to do it.
Okay. So I'm excited about the video
and the other thing,
prospect. Bye-bye.
Diana, I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you this.
But
Most of the comic book professionals, when you get a job working for Marvel or DC, they tend to believe that they're above everyone else.
right, they're not.
Because no, they're not. But the thing is, they start talking down to people who actually buy the books from these companies, which makes it even worse.
Of course.
Yeah, well, that was yeah. That's a serious problem. I think I'm not sure exactly what happens, but it seems like when people get a little bit of fame, maybe probably even worse if somebody's kind of a nerd and maybe you don't really know how to handle being so popular.
Exactly.
And I think maybe it goes to their head. But even like people who aren't all that nerdy, but maybe they're some sort of celebrity, like some sort of Hollywood actor or something, you can see people acting really strange on Twitter because it's like how anybody else will act on like Twitter or some other social media.
Yeah.
A lot of people will go and just start getting into pointless arguments. I've done that many times myself. And then they're a celebrity, and then that kind of amplifies things and makes things worse.
Right. Well, I think that not being in, face-to-face contact with people empowers people to say things they would not normally say if they were face-to-face with that person. That's well known. And
people get into these different factions and they get into these bubbles.
Well, that's one of the things about watching my quote unquote friends, as Diana keeps reminding me, they're not really, they're just acquaintances online. But that's one of the things that gets me, because most of my acquaintances who are currently not getting along probably would get along in person, but because it's all online, it's so much easier just to pick up and carry a grudge. It's like face to face, we piss each other off all the time, but we get over it. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, whatever.
Right.
Whereas online, if you never see the person, it's all just back and forth sniping. There's no de-escalation. It's just a constant, oh yeah, let's pile on. Maybe I can get a couple of more, people behind me here, and we'll just. And one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, it's like somebody's being ostracized for just being stupid for 10 minutes of their life.
Right.
They went on a rant, and now it's never going to be forgotten. And it kills me, because I'm like, I've put a lot of effort into cultivating friendships, and I'm like, y'all should be. I don't know. I just look for the love of Jesus in everybody, and it's not really prevalent right now. There's not a lot of forgiveness going around. There's not a lot of patience. And then when it's demonstrated, it's almost like it's being chosen to be given to people that I think are going to be burning them the next week down the road, So I'll just say it. I think War Campaign is dangerous. I think they're toying with people right now. I think they're kind of playing a game, and I hope they prove me wrong, but I think they're going to end up hurting people that have been crossing the line with them. And I'm not talking about the Etsy boys. I'm talking about the elite or the elevated ones, if you will. I'm very concerned about just people going to get hurt. It's just going to
the Etsy boys are. I don't know if any of those guys actually belong.
Those guys seem to just be having fun and making socks. I mean, give me a break. You know,
I like that. I like the socks. I think that's.
But you know what I'm saying?
You know, I'll even encourage the War Campaign to make their books like, the Vestige too. Like,
yeah, but I mean, they're good guys. You know, well, not good guys. I don't want to call anybody a good guy, but they're funny and they're somewhat harmless. They're just making little novelty, fundraisers and having a blast.
Yeah, yeah, because with the Etsy boys, so-called Etsy boys, they're selling these kind of tchotchkes is what they were calling it, and they're getting ready to release a book, but I think they want to make sure that they could go and see how campaigns work and how Indiegogo works and everything.
Well, haven't they done a wristband? They've done a
yeah, they wanted to make sure they could deliver a product on time and start off with something simple is what I think the plan was, because so that they can go and release a book and then be able to hopefully get that out on time, because they want to show that Comicsgate. If I understand it correctly, the people involved in this project, I'm not sure which all are involved in it. I know Stu is, and I think he wants to make sure that people, the people can. He wants to make sure that they can deliver things on time and show that Comicsgate.
He kind of wants to show them how it's done, right?
Still be delivered on time.
Right.
Something like that, but they started out with something simple like a wristband, and if they can get, let's say, about 100 backers, they want to make sure they can have them all manufactured and shipped out in a timely manner.
Yeah, and I think what they're doing is, I think the things that they're I don't want to use the word selling because the crowdfunding. I think that stuff is already finished. I don't know if they plan to do that with the book, but if they do that would definitely be a good thing. I always like it when books are finished. Tim Rim's good at that. John Del Rose does that.
Yeah.
I believe Skinny did that with his. And these are all people who are kind of doing their own thing. It's not like you have to be part of any particular faction to do that,
Nah, but you know what is disappointing is because the factions were almost good in the sense that they represented communities, and I would love to have a faction if it didn't mean all the drama and all the cutthroat and then all the backstabbing and
there's a lot of people now who I don't know if they're War Campaign or Etsy boys or if they're EVS fans or what, but they're, because I unblocked a whole bunch of people, and if I see a book nowadays that I like, I'll just back it. I don't have to worry anymore about, this is it's somebody who's aligned with EVS and I can't buy it. Or this is,
Yeah, I don't back anything based on factions, but okay, so like when we did the shared universe thing, that was my favorite time of the year. It felt like things were starting to develop between creators. There was a connection, a network.
Well, wasn't that under the Comicsgate?
Yep.
So
yep.
The problem with that is, I guess if I understand it correctly, and I'm trying to be very careful not to say something that's going to upset anyone, and then I'm trying to get everything correct. So my understanding with Preston's way of, I think he just wanted to have that logo and have, I think that's where he started off, is he wanted to have that logo with a mailbox being smashed.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I drew that for him.
No, I do believe he did think. I mean, he did seem very sincere about the shared universe as well. But the thing is, if it started off with this idea of a mailbox, trolling Tug and trolling CG, that might be kind of a sandy foundation for. I myself am wondering how long this thing will last with him calling things Comicscape. But
Yeah, I mean, when he
that's never
asked
really
me,
affected
when
me
he
one
had
way
me
or the
draw the
other.
logo for him,
Huh?
I did the logo for him, and it was definitely originally I put Remphamus in there. That's what he wanted. She didn't want to be in the logo, so
Yeah,
I
I think
changed
that was
the
a good
like.
decision on her part. I mean, there could be, she
But I mean,
definitely wouldn't want
initially
to be
there's no doubt
associated with
that it
that
was
whole thing because she was already accused of that, and
right. But I mean, it was a troll without a doubt. And when
yeah.
he posted that this week that he wanted to do a parody of it, I was like, isn't that like last year's gimmick? Like that's what we did last year, and it was funny for a moment, and it got really awkward as things progressed, and they ended up blowing up in our
I know
faces.
he spent all this money on getting the trademark, but I just don't see it as leading anywhere productive. It just seems like it's just causing people to argue once again. And it's also he's risking making those people that maybe they're not quite as powerful anymore. Like EBS, people aren't not as many people are calling him Caesar. But what happens when people go? What happens when Preston goes and decides to strike the guy's channel for using the, or if he goes after Malin, who seems like Malin's kind of mellowed out, and if he went after Malin for using, I think it's Comicscape Presents.
Right.
I think I think a lot of people would like turn on him. Unfortunately, that's an unfortunate thing. Is I do think he probably has to defend that trademark legally, or else he could lose it.
Yeah, so
I could be wrong.
it's going to be weird.
Defend the trademark, yes, it has to be defended.
Yeah. Otherwise, it is let go. It's like if I came out with Spider-Man tomorrow and Disney did nothing, and it went on for a couple of years. I have a good argument to say, well, they didn't care. It's not really a trademark.
Critias is somebody who Critias has always been nice to me. I used to watch his show, and I don't know if he streams much anymore. But the thing is, something happened where he didn't seem like he was all that good with managing money, and in a way, it's like I didn't really mind when Preston took the name Comicscape for the trademark because he actually delivers books, and he's always been very good as far as customer service. As far as my own personal experience, I can't speak for anybody else. But then the whole thing about defending the trademark by going after other channels, that's the part I don't like about the whole thing, which unfortunately is part of the law. Apparently.
Well, it's kind of crazy though. He's created a situation that he's in, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But it's just like there's no doubt that he kind of likes to poke the bear. He just simply does, and it seems like he's like, okay, so it's quiet. Let's go after Tug in the mailbox again, and
don't you notice that all these factions kind of do this? That all these indie comic factions, other than people who just call themselves indie comics, and they don't. I mean, other than people just say I'm making comics. The people, whenever somebody puts a label on it, almost inevitably it seems that they go and they end up being involved in drama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's and some of it is like, even like if somebody's doing let's say they're just hosting the show and they have a link group where just a place where they like a Twitter group where they post the link, there's going to be arguments in there even.
Right.
Hey guys,
or people who just don't get along and they end up blocking each other. That's happened before with my show several times, where people will start arguing because they saw some YouTube show where there's an expose on some other YouTuber, and then they start arguing. That's what happened with Mecca and Vicky. They both used to be part of my show.
Guys, I'm leaving. Good night.
Well, have a good
Happy
night.
New Year
Bye,
to you
guys.
all.
Happy New Year to you too. So I think the deal is maybe we need to find an alternative to Twitter.
Yeah.
And Facebook, and just find something. There needs to be an alternative to this like modern social media, some ways that people can keep in contact and share out the links. Huh?
I found several alternatives. I found Parlor.
I'm on Parlor.
Rumble. So am
Not
I.
on Rumble yet.
I found a new one called MeWe.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
What's it called?
MeWe.
Huh. The problem I have with Parlor is I'm not gonna give them my ID. They're not gonna want to see a green guy and an ID anyway.
It's more like Facebook. Let's put it that way.
Parlor is just
without all the drama.
I did do the Parlor.
Parlor is Twitter with
ID thing.
Well, they're not going to accept my ID because I'm a comic book character, and they're not going to accept a comic book ID.
I did it just because I wanted to see what would happen, and I've only noticed 3 Lincoln Continentals that followed me the first few days, and then they realized I wasn't a threat, so I haven't been followed since. It was cool.
A Lincoln Continental?
Yeah, they were black Lincoln Continentals. They
I
had
don't understand this.
They had guys in dark suits with sunglasses on at night.
Really?
No.
Wow, you start getting followed by after you get your ID, or he's just joking?
I'm completely joking. I'm just playing.
Yeah, he had a brief encounter. Well, what Chris is saying is he had a brief encounter with the Men in Black.
Yeah. I wish that might be fun.
Which has been a conspiracy joke since the late 50s.
Yeah, I just didn't get the Lincoln Continental reference.
Yeah, I don't know why it was like Continental, but it came out that way.
Yeah.
So what else are we going to talk about? Because I don't know if I should go talk to my wife. I don't know if she's mad at me or not.
She's not mad.
She hates when I talk
No,
about
she's
Twitter.
not. No, the thing is, she's not mad. She really wasn't well informed about the comic professionals on Twitter. That's the problem.
Well, it's we haven't had problems like with Comicsgate when the ex-pros started joining. I think that's kind of when it kind of, and then some of them are nice people, but some of them I think maybe just were part of that scene too long, and they started treating the customers the same way that they would if they were working at the big two. So maybe, I don't know. I think maybe the big solution would be to look at these other social networks. But the thing is, they would have to be. I don't think Parler is structured differently enough from Twitter to prevent. It could eventually become like that.
I think Parler is just going to be the right wing Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've noticed, and I don't know. I'm comfortable either way. It's like I can deal with it, but there's no place where it's just comic books anymore. It just doesn't feel like.
I don't remember seeing much comic books on Parler. I just see a bunch of politics, and I'm not really. I don't really fit in very well on any side of the political spectrum anymore. So it's really strange.
It's like this. The thing we'd have to do, we'd have to come up with something, some type of platform for comics in general, just for us.
Well, and I'm sure there's one that must exist somewhere, but I don't have a clue where the hell it would be. You know what I'm saying? Like I've heard of these other places, Webtoons and all that, but I don't think that's necessarily where I fall into place. I've seen some of their stuff, and it's like I'm really not manga.
The thing about Webtoons is you'd have to publish everything, almost everything digitally first.
Right.
There's a comic book dating site called Comic Book Passions.
I know. I've heard of that one. I've seen it.
Like, I type into comic book social network, and that's what I get. It's Comic Book Passions, a comic book social network, but then it turns out to be for dating.
It's a dating site.
Well, that's not a lot of fun. Well, if you're single, it might be, but that's not what
But
we're
if you're
talking
married,
about.
Yeah.
but the thing is, if you're married, it's not for you. That's the problem.
Yep.
Not they have
Unless you're some
most of the people
scumbag.
who create these things. No, most of the people who create these things think that comic book fans, majority of them are not married.
I don't know how true that is. Many of them aren't. Maybe the majority. I don't know.
I'm looking at this, and this guy's faster than a speeding bullet. Well, I'm
But is
just
he more
joking.
powerful than a locomotive?
I'm just joking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wondered that about Superman and Lois Lane. That seems kind of dangerous. It seems kind of get by.
I like the
Those
original
two in
Superman with his
bedroom, you know,
limitations.
Superman.
The original
Yeah.
Superman with his limitations was perfect.
I
Faster
know.
than a speeding bullet, wasn't super speed. More powerful than a locomotive and able to leap tall buildings, but not fly. That was perfect,
Right.
man.
Oh, so he
That was
wasn't always able to fly?
I think they gave him flying for the TV series. I saw
Oh,
that
okay.
in some
Yeah.
documentary or something.
In the beginning, he could
Oh,
leap.
so yeah, I could just leap buildings before.
Yeah, like I said, in the beginning, he could just leap from place
Right.
to place like the Hulk.
I like
Like they did with the
Smallville, where he didn't have all his powers yet. I don't think. Like, I don't think he could fly on there. I could be wrong.
I think at some point
No.
he could, but you're right. He started off like puberty type, where with the
Yeah, and
having
then in
full
the
body.
earlier episodes, I think later on.
Well, like the last episode, wasn't there that last scene where he showed the S? So you knew by the time he has an S, he knows how to fly. But I
Yeah.
don't know that he was ever shown in full costume. I think they just showed him opening up the shirt. I don't really remember.
Huh? Yeah,
A
I
lot
don't
of
even think I
times-
reached that. That was a plot spoiler, but I should have seen the end. I should have seen. If somebody hasn't seen it by now, they're pretty much out of luck.
I'm the worst with spoilers, guys.
But that was bound to happen. It's bound to where it is.
You know that there were certain things that they couldn't print in a newspaper strip, and flying
Yeah.
was one of those things.
Yeah.
And they're showing
Because
them
if
in the air.
you do that in newspaper no, because the actual ability of flight would take up at least 3 panels. In a newspaper strip, you don't have that kind of real estate.
Well, yeah, they could show them in the air, but they couldn't really show them do. Yeah, you just be in the air and then not going anywhere, just hovering. If they just showed them one.
Right.
Plus, I think flying might have been a pretty insane concept to them. Like
Yeah.
and when Superman first came out, it was more about like the strongman type mentality, and
was.
having him fly might not even be a consideration because he could just jump anywhere. And
Right. That was his whole thing. Is he was able to jump from place to place.
Now he's become like a Mary Sue or a
Yeah.
Larry Stew.
Not exactly. He's close to it, but not exactly Mary Sue.
What about a Wesley Crusher? Definitely Wesley Crusher.
Now that's a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
the
He's
one
like
problem with
everyone.
Superman though is he would be a Mary Sue, except kryptonite seems to be available like M&Ms. You just go to the right vending machine, and somehow Lex always has a nugget.
Yeah.
True.
It's like
Lex has resources and he has connections with the government. So
yeah,
him
but it's
getting
like
kryptonite is
was
easy.
the Earth like just suddenly showered in kryptonite one night, and somebody gathered it? At least it's like, God, we have elements on this Earth that are.
Well, you have to remember in the early stories he had been here a good 30-something years. So over this time, the meteorites have crashed into the Earth. Some of them contain kryptonite, others didn't. No one knew.
I've heard that in the
No one
comic
knew
books
the
nowadays.
significance of kryptonite.
Oh, sorry about that.
No one knew the significance of kryptonite when it first appeared on the Earth. They just thought it was some green meteorite which was which was the equivalent to Jade, but pretty much useless
Until you
for anything.
find Superman.
Well, I've heard the comic
Right.
books just have tons of Kryptonians now. Like there's just like, instead of just like a small number of people who escape the planet, now there's just like.
Well, that's been that way for a while, hasn't it? Like they had that Kryptonian city in a bottle that must have had a few thousand of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the city of Kandor. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's where most of them come from, anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah, DC was kind of funny. They would just like, yeah, by the way, Superman's got a new dog and a new cousin and a whole bunch of Kryptonians in a bottle.
Yeah, that's always been the case. In fact, I think they scaled back on like Superboy and stuff.
They waited until Man of Steel to go into that backstory of Krypton. And there you find out that Superman was the first natural birth in millennia.
Now, I didn't follow it that deep. What run was that? Was that the Byrne run?
This was from the movie Man of Steel, where they really dove into the Kryptonian society.
Oh, with Crow in it. Russell.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell Crowe with Pappas on there.
Yeah.
See, I avoided that because it didn't have Christopher Reeve.
I know a lot of people did for that same reason.
Well, they could have had him, but the role would have been really limited.
Oh, was it after he got paralyzed?
It was after he died.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was after he died.
We would have had to do a Princess Leia thing.
Oh, which one was which one was the when there was a continuity from like Superman 3 or something?
That was that god awful
Superman Returns?
Yes.
Yeah, that was I think I saw that on TV because it's like, I can watch.
Yeah, the Atom played Superman.
Yeah.
That's a WB reference if you didn't catch that.
What did you call him?
I know, but the thing was
the Atom.
And out of place Superman, yeah. Huh. Even though Brandon Routh did a good job as Superman, but he was still out of place because when he returned back there, the world had moved on without him and forgotten about him.
Yeah, it seemed like a real slap in the face to fans.
Well, you know what bothered me? Okay, so number one, Lois goes off and ends up sleeping with Cyclops. And I mean, okay, so he didn't have his visor anymore. I guess Professor X healed him. But then she's got he's Clark's baby, and she's still going to go sleep with Cyclops guy.
Right.
That didn't make sense
Cyclops? To me. I didn't realize that. Because I was so confused with that movie.
It was just the actor who played Cyclops, but that was even weirder because every time I see him, I think Cyclops. So I'm like, she's fucking Cyclops. What's going on?
Yeah, that was so weird. Why? I mean, I didn't realize it was Cyclops, but the idea she was with another guy, and she had even written an article and won an award for why we don't need Superman. It's like,
yeah, for the world without Superman was the name of the
article.
She
was just like so bitter funny. And everything.
That's what made it so fun.
I assume she was better. It's like, why would he even go back to? We knew that the Krypton was destroyed. I mean, I think he learned about that at the Fortress of Solitude. He had like this kind of this hologram or whatever that told him about that.
Well, unfortunately, it's a DC thing, so we'll never really know.
I think they did a comic book that tied into it that maybe explained it more, but still, it seemed like a real departure from. We were just trying to figure out, well, how do we go and make something even worse than the previous? Because hadn't the Superman, some of the Christopher Reeve ones, gone kind of downhill by?
Well, by 3 they were, yeah.
And so they just decided instead of having
3 was the last straw, let's put it that way.
Was that Richard Pryor?
Yes.
But then they
Yeah.
decided to come up with something that was just as disappointing,
Superman 3
wasn't
was
it?
the last one. But Superman 4 just added insult to injury.
That was the
Yeah.
solar guy, right? Or
But was
whatever.
Superman Returns any better than that?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
but not by much. It was better because of the effects, but the story was just about as bad. I mean, they
Yeah, I
turned
don't really care
Superman
much
into a
about the
funk
effects.
job.
The weird thing is, I don't even remember watching Superman 4. It's kind of odd that it was in like 1987. I would have been like in junior high, and I don't remember it even coming out.
I remember it coming out. I never went to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw something on Siskel and Ebert. If it was on Siskel and Ebert and they gave it a bad review, then my folks weren't going to go out and see that. It's not like my dad's going to go out and take me to the super, And I probably wouldn't have gone on my own. I didn't go on my own, so I mean, because it was just.
that bad?
I mean, I'm not going to go with my friends to a movie that nobody wants to see.
True.
So if the third one was already kind of disappointing, then yeah.
Nuclear Man versus Superman. Oh, that's
I do like how campy it is, though. But yeah, this doesn't look like it's got the best. Like,
yeah, the effects were pretty bad in space.
it looks like he's flying around. He's probably got like a wire flying around from a green screen.
And this scene was really weird because it makes it seem so small because they're just in this little corner. These huge, stars. It just didn't fit. And look, it's Google Maps.
No.
Oh, God. That thing would buckle under its own weight.
That's so corny.
The problem was, this was supposed to be a Bizarro story.
Oh, is that part of it there?
That's what it was supposed to be.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
This was supposed to be a Bizarro story because Bizarro had become a very popular character at this time.
Look at how bad that looks. Oh, I can barely watch this. I don't know why I am. And the people are just like, hey, look at that.
Now you understand why most
Be
people
laughing at
over
the Statue of Liberty,
the
but it's
age of 16 skip it.
it's
And
just
again,
so unbelievable.
That thing
Yeah.
would have
Now you know
buckled
why
under
people
its own
over the
weight.
age
It's
of
not
16
designed to do that.
I mean, Superman himself, Superman really should be unbelievable. It's just some dude in tights flying around, but he had actually pulled that off better than a lot of actors have, in those previous movies.
Oh, God, what are you going to do, Nuclear Boy?
Like that first Superman, he really pulled off the role of Superman. I think the second one was poorly edited, but they come up with a new edit that's...
Lorenzo, he got scratched by nuclear power. He barely got it back.
Have any of you guys seen the director's cut of Superman 2? I've heard it's really good.
I think I have, and it wasn't bad at all.
I guess the original one was just really bad, and this, yeah, I'm saying it's really good, but I honestly don't know. It looks like it just doesn't suck, at least, which is probably
He's time traveled with that cape on, and the guy kicked him, and it fell off. Get out of town.
Right.
I don't buy that.
Have you guys heard that there's gonna be a new cut of The Godfather 3 that doesn't suck?
No.
Because I don't know. So that's another one that I think came out like when I was in junior high, and I'd seen the first two, but like I don't think I ever saw the third Godfather. But I heard that it just
The Godfather Part 2 takes place after Vito Corleone dies and Michael takes over. That's the thing. That's the thing about that one.
Well, I heard that there's like a young actress in there. I can't remember the director's daughter, but she just was very new to acting, and she ended up becoming like a director in her own right.
Mm-hmm.
Was her name Harlequin?
Was it Coppola? Like Coppola's daughter?
Coppola.
And so I think what happened was, I think somehow they fixed that. I don't know how they could fix somebody's acting like decades later, but maybe the way it was edited is just better now. And I think that's coming out to theaters soon. Or, well, maybe not to theaters, but maybe it'll be, who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of weird now because HBO did both theater and Max, right, for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people are not liking this Wonder Woman. Some people are, but it just sounds like it's just kind of, I don't know.
Well, I have to admit, the clips I've seen, I say no.
It's kind of what it is.
What is it?
When it comes to Wonder Woman 1984, when it comes to Wonder Woman 1984, it's kind of a mixed bag. So you say Patty Jenkins didn't want to put out the core audience, which was fans, which was the fans who were mostly guys who really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, I went there with my girlfriend at the time, and she seemed to enjoy it. I don't understand why they would want to change. You know, though some people said it was too much like a previous movie. Was it like Captain America or something, where it followed a similar formula?
The thing is, you have to understand that Wonder Woman and Captain America came out at the same time during World War II, so they had to change a few things about Wonder Woman. And instead of her coming out in World War II, she came out during World War I. That because the story was so similar, most people would have thought it was a ripoff of Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yeah, so there was a Captain America movie,
Mm-hmm.
or not?
What do you mean,
It was Captain
Did he have
America?
Did he have his own standalone movie?
Captain America?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a couple of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Captain America, the first Avenger was the first one.
Was that a good movie?
It was all right. Yeah. I'd watch it again.
And believe it or not, it just fed right into the Avengers movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually, what was it? Captain America 2 was Civil War?
The Winter Soldier was the second one.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I remember hearing about it. There was a that. Was that a good movie? I know it was hyped up.
The Winter Soldier one?
Good because it was good because it brought back Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, I liked
who
it.
Everyone thought was dead.
I didn't even like it for the Bucky death thing. I liked it just because it was it just had a good feel to it.
It actually followed the comics.
yeah, that's a big part of it.
That was it followed the comics because for a long time everyone thought that Bucky was dead.
Yep.
Not that he had been found, brought back to health and turned into a psychopath.
So was he Captain America's like original sidekick, or?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, he was.
In
the original comic, he was a sidekick.
Was Sam his sidekick later on, or the Falcon, or?
Sam,
that was more like a partnership, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, it was. That's the thing.
I don't really know a lot about comics and superhero movies in general. I've just seen if I hear like really good reviews of something, well, what used to be like I'd see like there'd be a review, and I could trust it and go, and well, maybe it wouldn't be able to trust it, but I could see if I watched a few different reviewers, I could get a sense of whether or not I'd like a movie or not. Nowadays, there's so many reviewers that they got some weird politics and stuff. It's so hard for me to tell. they should go out and watch. And then Hollywood, it seems like they hire a lot of really good. Seems it's not usually the actors and actresses, I think, that are messing up the movies. It seems like it's the writers and sometimes the directors. Maybe how it's edited.
Yeah.
So somebody can have do the best performance somebody possibly, like the Jar Jar character with years ago with a Phantom Menace. That guy acted the hell out of that character. It wasn't the actor's fault. He did the best he could with that character.
He did what he
didn't like that.
Yeah.
But nowadays they're doing things like, I'd say far worse, because it's like they're adding all these weird politics to things, and then there's a slanted dialogue, whereas Jar Jar just seemed kind of goofy. And I know he's made for little kids and stuff, but Star Wars was always like pretty kid friendly. I mean, even with the original trilogy, even before Return of the Jedi, when they added all those Ewoks, they always had Yoda.
Right.
Well, and they had R2D2, which was a very kid-friendly robot. I remember loving R2D2 as a kid.
And the C-3PO, the flamboyantly gay but still kid-friendly robot.
See Star Wars. R2D2 was the reason kids wanted to see Star Wars.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Yeah,
I loved him.
You were a kid under the age of 30. You went to see R2D2 just to see what he was all about.
And then there's C-3PO, who is like really annoying and like maybe had a Russian R2D2 or something.
But 3PO was like a necessary translator. You could deal with him because he would be like, "Oh, R2, you're so bullshit."
Yeah, he meant well.
He's the only one who can translate.
I think he was just kind of easily agitated.
Yeah.
But I actually like that character as well.
When you're the only one who can translate everybody's favorite lovable droid, yeah, it gets like that.
Plus, it was funny how they would argue. How they'd argue back and forth, and then R2D2 would tell them off and like a bunch of beeps.
And R2 was always willing to just say, "Okay, see you later, C3. I'm going off over here by myself. Then see ya."
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Like Carmen would say. But a bunch of beeps and whistles.
Right. That was the whole. That's what made R2. That's what made R2 everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
And everybody looked at C-3PO as the older sibling.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad droid or anything. He just got kind of overly emotional at times, but that was kind of endearing in a way too.
Right.
I never minded him until I grew up.
Right.
I think he was. I think when he was in I saw The Last Jedi, but not the other Disney Star Wars. And I think I don't remember if he just seemed actually. I don't remember him being that bad. It seemed like Leia was worse than normal. Like she was even meaner than normal. Like there was just one scene where, and she always had kind of said some things to get down to kind of when she was being rescued and stuff, she didn't like that these guys that she had to have a bunch of guys come to her rescue and stuff. Her being a princess and everything, and being really good with a gun.
What's funny is I wouldn't even have recognized it as a womanized feminism thing. I didn't see it. I was just like, yeah, she's a headstrong chick.
Yeah, and it just seemed like they were so happy-handed, but with that in The Last Jedi, like they just they had that what was her name? What do they call her? Like Admiral Gender Studies or whatever. And they just went and they were trying to make it. The original one was feminist, I think, and how they had this like a strong-willed female character who was a princess who but like she was like taking this whole damsel in distress thing and turning it on its head because she could as I said before, she could fire a blaster. She really could defend.
Yeah, she could hold her own with any of the guys.
Numbered when she was captured.
Yep.
I mean, that could happen to a guy. I mean, hell, that happened to John McCain. He got captured.
You want to know something funny? They use Princess Leia as a model for Ada Wong in the Resident Evil games.
Oh, really?
Ada Wong dresses like a damsel in distress, and then she pull a knife out of a high heel shoe and kill you with it.
I'm gonna have to check out those games again.
My son got me Resident Evil 2 for Christmas.
Most of the women in the Resident Evil games, they look harmless, but they will kill you rather than kiss you.
So that's the thing. Was kind of that way, and it just seemed like for some reason in the Last Jedi, and I don't like crapping all over the Last Jedi because there's channels that do that, and then did that for months on end. I just think that they kind of ruined an opportunity to. I think by trying to making it so that she had to use the Force, but without showing her training and Ray suddenly was like
believable to show being trained to use it. That's what everyone is complaining about. She was it makes sense that she'd be Force sensitive, I think is the term, because Luke, her brother Luke was, so they just needed to show a little. Turns out that her father, who was Emperor Palpatine, was very Force sensitive also. So
yeah, I mean, I would have thought that maybe it would even take less time because Luke wasn't necessarily the best student in the world either, and maybe he'd be a little bit pick up on the Force a little faster than he did, but they didn't. They could have just shown that, that's. And that's movie. I thought there were good aspects of that movie. It seemed like that the way it was edited, it was really poorly done. It wasn't like I had problems with the acting.
Which one was Last Jedi?
That was the second one. I mean, the second one in the new trilogy, not the.
Gotcha.
I mean, I know they did what was it?
Yeah, it was the one before The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, and it wasn't the one that there's another one where
I know.
What was that they had before Solo? There was another thing that
The Rise of Skywalker.
Rogue Squadron.
I think so.
Star Wars fans have this rule: never mention that movie. To them, that movie does not.
There was one that was highly praised in the Disney Star Wars. It had a female.
Oh yeah, it was called Infinity War.
I thought it was Rogue One. Rogue One, that's what I'm thinking.
No, it was Avengers and Infinity War.
Well, I heard Rogue One was good, but I don't know.
No, it was pretty good. I liked it.
But
Rogue One was a better video game than movie.
What about Solo? I never checked that out.
Solo was weird because it didn't meet the expectations.
No,
Harrison Ford.
Sounded like there were a couple directors, two guys directing it originally, and then they got replaced by what was the guy from Happy Days? It was actually Ron Howard. I mean, he was a great director, but
you're right. Something about that, yeah.
Loves going and replacing directors. They do that at Pixar, and it's just, I don't think that's necessarily the best way to make a movie is to have it nearly completed or whatever, and then replace the directors.
No, just ask Joss Whedon. It works out great.
or it's yeah, it worked out great for him.
Well, in the case of Joss Whedon, it was like All he had to do was pick up where Zack Snyder left off. Problem was the execs wouldn't let him do that.
Right.
Oh, boy. I think the before Ron Howard. Sorry. I hope I'm not cutting you off.
Who?
It just seemed like with us. So I haven't seen Solo, but what it sounds like is it might have started off like as a comedy, and then Ron Howard might have come in and like directed more seriously. But
I don't know.
The female, I think there was this female robot and stuff, and what I heard, and I think that was supposed to be like for comedic effect, but it didn't quite work out that well. Like I think it was maybe like people are saying that it was like maybe like a feminist like type message, but it might have actually been trying to, I don't know, it might have actually been like some sort of comedy character. Because wasn't there like this female robot that had a crush on?
I think that might have been the one Lando was sleeping with or wanted to.
Yeah. And I think that might have started out as like a comedy type character, and then like maybe taken too seriously or something when Ron Howard stepped in. But I don't know. I'm not saying Ron Howard messed anything up. It sounded like Disney went and they didn't like the direction it was going in. And
well, you can't trust any of the movies.
I never know, but I mean, I guess I could read the script or something, but maybe that's out there. But I'm just wondering if maybe things were reinterpreted.
I don't know. You should watch it sometime.
Yeah, I'd have to watch that, and then I'd have to find out what
You'd probably enjoy it somewhat, at least. It wasn't the worst of the movies.
So was that female robot at all funny or not really?
I don't remember her being funny.
It was hit and miss. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation, it was hit and miss.
It was kind of weird. The Last Jedi had some sort of weird like message about vegetarianism. Do you remember that the animal rights sections of the film?
That wasn't when they saved all those weird animals, was it?
Well, there was that, and
yeah.
But then they had a bunch of children, and they just kept them they just allowed them to remain slaves. I think. You remember that? There were all the slaves on the planet, all the child labor, and they just like, we'll just leave them be. I don't think they freed them. Maybe they.
No, I don't think they did either.
Because it looked to me like they were slaves. I could be wrong.
In that scene, there was a message against slavery, for veganism, and I forgot the other one.
And I hate to be talking about Star Wars because there's all these channels complaining about Star Wars. I actually liked Rose Tico. I mean, I thought it was a really good idea. She was a good idea for a character having like a maintenance worker who is a hero, but it just didn't make any sense. Some of her dialogue and some of her actions just seemed kind of irrational. But
I didn't get her little love affair with the black guy. I don't remember his name.
Oh, Finn?
Yeah, they kind of just played that down at the very end. It was gone. It's like, okay, she kisses him, now she's nothing.
Yeah,
you know,
the thing is, Rose Tico was the only good thing about that series.
I like Kelly Marie Tran. I heard that she did an excellent job in a previous movie, and I thought she did as good of a job as anybody could in considering the script of
Rian Johnson.
Yeah, the script of The Last Jedi. I thought she did a good job for what the character. I just thought that they could have made maybe made her look a little bit better, and maybe
that was
made her character just a little more logical. I mean,
I'm with you on that, man. They could have
The
played
part
her up
about
a lot
not
better.
fighting, was it like about fighting for? I can't remember the line. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Right. I mean, come on. They had the perfect empowered female to build a story around. They didn't have to insert a Mary Sue.
Wait a minute, who's the perfect female?
Go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah, she is. She is really an attractive lady in real life. I don't know how they managed to screw that up too. And I'm not saying that was. They could. I mean, they could have made her look a little more. They didn't. I like it. I think it's cool that they have had characters like her and Ray. Like they didn't have like those fancy space buns or whatever that.
When they decided that she was going to go after, what's his face? When she was going to kiss what's his face? You just said his name too, and I forgot it again. But when they decided that she should have done a little makeup, she should have worn a little bit lower blouse. She should have turned on the woman charm a little bit, and they didn't have her do that.
Maybe because she's an orphan. I kind of got that. It looks like maybe she kind of cut her hair herself or whatever. I mean, I think it's kind of cool. I saw like this woman who was cosplaying as Ropes Tickle, and she just looked really good. It just seemed like they deliberately made her just a little too plain.
Yeah, they tend to do that these days.
Yeah, and it's like I think what happens is that maybe that there's some of these feminists who get tired of guys just like like hitting on them constantly.
Look at Birds of Prey
on the street, and apparently guys are catcalling, which I don't really ever see, but apparently that happens, and and it's just annoying, and so they end up like just like maybe that's why some feminists end up with just outrageous hairdos or something. I don't.
Nah, man. You know what it's all about? So Suicide Squad, right? Harley Quinn comes out. She's dressed like a slut. She is the hit of the movie, and everybody loves her. They put her in Birds of Prey. They do everything they can to downplay her figure. They make her look pouty. They make her look bratty. They get rid of the sexiness. She downplays herself in the press, and you can see an obvious difference. It's they're willing to play the game to get the fans, and then once they get them, they're like, "Shame on you for looking at me in my titty suit. I'm gonna wear this, and now you're still gonna love me, or else you're a sexist." And
I'm surprised they don't try going back to that look she had in the Batman the animated series.
Oh, that I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, because that was sexy as well. But it's just like it was, but it was also like didn't she kind of look like a court gesture or something though?
Yeah, she was like
that was the whole point. He was supposed to be the reincarnate. The way they explained it in the animated series, she was supposed to be the reincarnation of the Shakespeare character Harlequin.
Yeah, and then that's her name. Yeah, that would make sense. And then with Joker, he was like a clown, like a really insane clown that you don't ever want to have at a children's party or ever have anywhere.
But that was the whole point. That was the whole point.
Yeah, they were tapping into these kind of like archetypes.
And she was supposed to be a play off the Joker and cards and all that stuff. And
yeah, it's like they've taken these characters and they've taken them in. Maybe the thing is, if you're writing for a character, and maybe there's just a limited number of things you can do with a character. But it seemed like her character got changed like not too soon after her. I mean, the character has only been around since the 90s and already completely unrecognizable.
Well, once they realized they had a potential hit, they started filling her with the Mary Sue qualities. I mean, have you ever seen Birds of Prey? Because in that movie, she might as well just be freaking Super Fighter 101. I don't know, man. It was sick.
She might as well.
I don't watch a lot of these things. Every few years there'd be like some superhero movie that'd be like groundbreaking, like Iron Man, first Iron Man film. I went
Yeah.
out and watched that, or the first couple Batman movies. I think I went and saw it. Like,
I felt
oh, I
that way
didn't see
about
it in
the
the
first
theater, but I
10
think
or
it was
so Marvel
actually at
movies.
the what is it the drive-in movies.
Oh,
I saw at least one of the
Mhm.
Batman films there.
Yeah.
drive-ins were the
No way
bomb.
to watch.
You know what? Where they really, yeah. You know what they really messed up with Harley Quinn? They didn't
Where's
go back
that?
to a background as a psychiatrist
Yes.
in the movies. As far as they never touched on her background as a psychiatrist.
That's a
I
pretty
mean, it was mentioned.
I mean that's like an
It was
actual.
suicide stuff, but that's as far as they went with.
That would have been great in Birds of Prey too, because it would have added that dimension of intelligence that she lacks.
Yeah,
Right.
somebody, and that's actually like that's such a grade that somebody has to go to school for a long time. You have to become like either an MD or a DO. I think you can get. I mean, I think you can be an osteopath and be a psychiatrist, but either one takes a lot of schooling, and that's this. I would think that would be something that they wanted to promote, is showing like a woman who's an actual doctor.
Yeah.
'Cause-
We're also talking about the only woman in Gotham City who took one of the Joker's rejected plans and made it work.
Because if she's a psychiatrist, she can actually prescribe medicine. Now, if she's a psychologist, that's still quite a few years of study. Or even if she was like a master's in social worker, she
Yeah, but she had some sort of real degree. I forget what it was, if it was psychologist or psychiatrist, but
yeah, either or would be like a very respectable thing, and I would think that would be a very feminist thing as well. That I mean,
well, in a way, didn't they turn her into the what would you call that? The male dream, like for an evil guy, it would be like the hot chick goes crazy and now she's yours, and she does your every whim, and she's kind of like the perfect fantasy for the bad guy.
Yeah, she was. But the thing is, with her smarts, man, why wouldn't you capitalize on her smarts? Because in the animated series, they did just that.
Yep.
I mean, she made every criminal in Gotham City look bad by coming this very close to killing the Batman.
yeah, I would think that they want to preserve that sort of aspect of her personality.
Well, on multiple levels too, because it helps women, it helps her character.
Yeah.
I think there's just like kind of a lot of really like lazy or just bad writers in Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah.
Like they've still got some really talented actors and actresses, but it seems like these writers and directors are really dropping the ball. And I blame corporate consolidation, because they're just all these large corporations just keep all these media outlets just keep merging, and seems like it's harming the entertainment business, the news. You can't really. I mean, it was always kind of. It was very difficult to trust, like, say, CNN back when they were pushing, say, like when they're claiming there's weapons of mass destruction or whatever in Iraq or what. But then now it's just like now that these companies have all merged.
Yeah, they're all pretty bad now.
Yeah, it's like it's that's not reliable, and then the Hollywood the storytelling just isn't there anymore. Just seems like it's a bunch of explosions or a bunch of CGI.
Well, everybody's trying to redo what worked before, not realizing it, like the Avengers 20 movie buildup isn't going to happen again like that. It can't. It can't be duplicated that way. It has to be broken down, deconstructed, and reforged. And yet they're going to try to do it again. And I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think the characters they're coming out with are compelling enough. But we'll see.
I think there's some good television shows. Like I mean, I've seen some excellent television shows like I really enjoyed The Orville. Some people don't like it, but I enjoyed it.
I liked it.
I've heard The Expanse is excellent. I've tried watching the first episode. It's kind of slow paced, but I heard it gets better if it's just like if somebody's like sticks with it. Disenchanted by the creator of The Simpsons.
I've seen one of those, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a bit medieval kind of themed thing, but there's like an elf and like this little demon, and the main character's name is Bean, which I don't know if Bean from PA's seen it, but yeah, I've only seen like the first 2 episodes, and I guess it's like on the second or third season. That's maybe even more than that because I'm watching on that. I'm watching Netflix, and typically they're like one season behind, and not like Hulu, which is like a day or two, only a day or two behind.
But is that a Netflix production or a regular one?
I don't know.
I thought that was a Netflix original. I could be wrong.
It could be, and then I'm like starting to rewatch Futurama. But I don't know much about the movies coming out. Like which ones? I'm sure there's some good movies too. I'm just not as aware of.
I don't even pay attention to their movies anymore because like I get so disappointed, and unless there's like a huge public swell, I just ignore them. And then if I end up stuck at home because of a snowstorm or a lockdown, I have new stuff to watch, which I'll eventually get to, but. Like, I'm not too thrilled with most of I didn't like what they did with The Witcher. I didn't feel that was like top-notch quality, even though it had some good actors in it.
Isn't that where they tried to make it more? Didn't they try to make it a little more diverse than like the source material? Like, there really wasn't that much diversity.
They tried to.
Weird though. Racial diversity in that, and what was that, like the Czech Republic or Poland, I think.
But I didn't have any real connection to the source material.
Polish folklore, that's what it is.
I had never really played the games or read the books. And I watched the series as like just off the cuff, and it just didn't grab me like it should have, like I was like, oh, Superman's got long hair. And that was about the biggest revelation I had.
Remember one thing. You have to remember one thing. The Netflix show takes place between the second and maybe the fourth book.
Yeah, because it was originally books
So
that
if you
adapted
haven't read
to game, and then I don't know if the show is based off of the game and not as close, or the books, or I don't know.
Well, the video games take place about 5 years after the books end.
Interesting.
Did you enjoy The Witcher the TV series?
Yeah, because I've read the books. That's the reason why I enjoyed it.
So they did do a good job. I know there's controversy over like some of the casting.
Yeah, there was, because it's like they wanted to put actresses of color in certain roles, but they didn't fit.
Did they end up being like really good actors and actresses? Because sometimes that'll actually. Because I know like Eartha Kitt just acted the hell out of that Catwoman character.
She did.
And Halle Berry looked really good.
Eartha Kitt is the only.
I never minded the race swap because it seemed to.
That's what she did.
Huh?
It's on television, so it was like. Well, yeah. Remember back in the '60s, it was like they needed a big personality to play the Batman villains in this show. So Eartha Kitt was one of the biggest personalities out there.
Yeah, and she just really
That's
got
why
she got
she was
that
able to play
purr right.
Catwoman.
She could really do the purr, and she got those cat-like mannerisms down really good. And
Exactly.
I think she was the best. I mean, well, I
Then
can't remember the other actresses. They were all very sexy and all did an excellent job, but I just liked her the best.
Julie Newmar was another one. She picked up on a few things that Eartha Kitt did.
Hey, so my least favorite one was Michelle Pfeiffer, believe it or not. I didn't think she was very hot as the
And
Catwoman.
Lee Merriweather was. I'd call Lee Merriweather a combination of Eartha Kitt and Julie Newmar.
Okay, yeah, I don't even remember.
Because she improvised a lot of things.
Oh, okay. And who is who did you mention, Chris? She was in the Tim Burton one.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't care for her as much.
She was the one that
she was all right.
She was all right, but she wasn't my favorite Catwoman.
Keaton.
No, well, I think Michael Keaton was in it, wasn't he?
Role as seriously as yeah.
It was the
Michael
second
Keaton
one.
was Batman in that one.
Yeah.
It was the second one.
It
Was it the cluster where like Penguin was in it too, and like they threw everything in the kitchen sink at it?
Well, yeah, Batman Returns. They almost threw everything but the kitchen sink at it.
Was
they
that
focused on two villains, which was Catwoman and the Penguin.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito as a Penguin.
Yeah, that was
yes. And Danny DeVito became the staple of what the Penguin should look like. That's what was funny about that.
I have a hard time with like
between Burgess Meredith and DeVito. If you had to choose between Burgess Meredith and Danny DeVito as the Penguin, who would you choose?
Oh, gee. I'd probably still go Burgess, but I'm old fashioned. I grew up with it.
Right.
My son would probably tell you Danny.
I mean, Burgess.
Oh yeah, he
Burgess Meredith. He's one of those guys that just put class into the Penguin.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito made him the other side out, the murderer side of him.
He was a mutant.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I rewatched the first one, I don't know, a few years ago, and I just, I don't know, for some reason, Jack Nicholson didn't seem like it really held up as well. But a lot of people say that he's really, I mean, that was real accurate to the comic or something, but I just.
It was. The thing is, Jack Nicholson took apart the Joker. At the time, Jack Nicholson took the Joker apart and see what made him tick and just went with it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the clown gags all that well. but I guess that was what the. I mean, but I guess that was what the Joker was about. Maybe more so.
If you think about it, from the Joker was explaining the Batman to everyone. That's the way Jack Nicholson saw it. It was his job to explain the Batman. Like, where did he get those wonderful toys? Which made you think about who's the man behind the mask.
Whereas Heath Ledger, I guess Heath Ledger wasn't as much of a clown. Maybe since the Joker's supposed to be a clown, I could.
Heath Ledger really came off as a psycho, though. He had that cool little.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this.
Yeah. Because after watching Heath Ledger, then it's become hard for me to watch the Jack Nicholson.
Else, right?
Now, I have to say the Joaquin Phoenix, is that his name or whatever his name is? The last Joker movie. I did enjoy that movie. That
I've
movie
heard,
was
I've heard
bizarrely.
people either seem to love it or hate it.
I absolutely loved it. Diana didn't care for it,
Yes, we love that movie.
but I walked
You
away
have to
from it
love that
going,
movie. But the thing is,
"Go ahead."
thing is, you have to remember, Ledger brought up the Joker's intellectual side, so he was more talkative and he's like more able to explain things. But Joaquin Phoenix just combined Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger and just came out with this
Yeah.
character that was just in your face.
Ledger felt more like a comic book supervillain to me. The comic book or the Joker movie, that felt kind of like a Frank Miller deconstruction of the character. And I was like, oh, if there was someone as nuts as the Joker, this could be how he got that way.
No, I see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. It looked really interesting to me, but then a friend of mine had seen it at the theater and just didn't like it at all. And then I had heard some other people didn't like it. So it's I guess it just all depends on one's interpretation.
I enjoyed the psychotic nature.
Why most people didn't like it was because they were Heath Ledger.
Well, I don't know.
In
if
the
they're
eyes of most people, Heath Ledger is the Joker.
Heath Ledger, but he's very picky about things. He's more into art movies, which I would have thought would have been perfect for him because it looked like it looked like it was some sort of kind of like some art film or something, judging by the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it was doing some psychological dive into the character.
Playing the Joker in The Dark Knight was an art film if you think about it, because it's like you're breaking down the psychology of the average Joe, whether he's smart, dumb, whatever. We all know that the Joker is a borderline genius. That shows in everything he does, and how he tries to take over the city.
Yeah, he's always seemed like kind of an evil genius to me.
Mm-hmm.
But not like Lex Luthor.
I know what makes him different from every other supervillain you read about is that it's not about money. It's not about material things. It's about watching the entire system burn itself down.
Right.
Well, it seemed like
and in his mind, the only two sane people in Gotham City are himself and the Batman. Because at this point, they're the only two people taking him off the box.
I feel like he's quite had quite a bit of ingenuity when it came to making all these little devices and stuff in the Jack Nicholson Joker. Like he had all these toys and stuff all these creative ways of like poisoning people or whatever he was up to. It's been a while. I watched it a few years ago, I guess, again, but my memory's not particularly good at what all he did. Did he have like some sort of laughing gas or something that he used?
Yeah.
Oh,
isn't that
was lethal laughing gas? It's a staple.
Yeah.
That was used by Jack Nicholson, and it was hinted on in the Batman Begins movie. With,
is that
Scarecrow and all that.
something straight out of the comics or not?
I'm sure he's had them in the
Part
comic.
of it did. It came out the comic because when they did the Arkham games, they introduced a lot of things from the comics into that game.
But that's kind of like almost a trope, laughing gas, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, that's the perfect thing to go along with the Joker because he's got that permanent smile on his face.
Right.
He's kind of like this insane evil clown. But yeah, I don't understand. I don't know why some people just didn't like the. I mean, this one friend of mine, I don't think had even seen The Dark Knight.
Made in one of the animated series about how his laughing gas wouldn't make a bunch of piranhas smile, even if he OD'd the fish on it, they wouldn't smile.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know why this one friend of mine didn't like the. What was it? The new Joker
movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people seem to shy away from it. Like I know a lot of the pop superhero people I know didn't care for it. They actually liked the Joker. What was his name? Leto from Suicide Squad more.
I hate
But this guy is somebody who
because the thing about the Joker is you can't make him part of an ensemble. That's the problem.
Yeah, he doesn't work out right.
But like, so I don't know. Like, I don't know if you guys have met Mr. Matt. I don't know if you guys have been on a stream when
I don't know if I have or not.
he's somebody who's been involved with the show off and on, like, but with the Sleestackians, but
Right.
he just can't always join, and so he's just every few weeks will show up. But yeah, he's somebody who likes he's got very high standards as far as films, but I would think he's like more into artistic stuff. But I thought he'd really enjoy it, and yet he
no go, huh?
he even made a video about him not liking it. But he kind of went into like superhero movies in general, and which seemed kind of odd because it didn't seem like a real normal superhero movie from judging by the clips I've seen. It looked.
Oh, I didn't think it was normal at all, but you know.
But I just don't know. Maybe
some people just might not like it.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just too.
There's also one other thing that most people don't know. The Joker doesn't have a clear origin story.
Right.
He's never had a clear origin story, so
he's told a few different stories.
Yeah. With the Joker movie, they took full creative license and went as far back as when he was a stand-up comedian. And then
Mr. Matt's not really into Marvel or DC, so I would think that this would have been the perfect thing for him because he didn't really have any expectations going in, I don't think. But for some reason, maybe it was just a little. Did it seem to be celebrating the like sociopathy or something? Because
not really.
No, yeah, no.
So it wasn't like turning him in. It wasn't making him out to be like the hero or like.
You'd have to be pretty sick to think he was the hero.
It wasn't making him out to be a hero or a villain. It was making him out to be an average Joe who, at some point in his life, was wronged by certain people.
You know what's kind of funny is
Basically-
I expected the movie to suck. I didn't see how they could make a good Joker movie, and it surprised me because it was rich.
Was it kind of like Falling Down, where that
Right.
guy just one day he just got like pushed a little too far and he snapped?
But not one day.
Well,
But yeah,
in this
kind of
movie,
like that.
Kind of like that. But in this movie, they brought up the fact that Arthur might be Thomas Wayne's son.
Yep.
Thomas Wayne, was that the
Bruce's
Batman's
dad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they always kill him before I can really catch the guy's name. They always just like, he's a little kid and his dad dies. It's horrible.
And at the end of the Joker movie,
And the funny thing is they just never do
Martha Wayne get killed. Which also goes to show how much older the Joker is than Batman.
Yeah.
How so? I missed.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I gotta get going. It's 10 o'clock and I have one more day of work tomorrow.
Tomorrow night I'm planning on live streaming. Didn't last week because it was like Christmas Eve or something. So
send a link. I'll try to get in.
If they were interested in doing a New Year's Eve live stream, where we can just hang out,